Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to After Dark Into the Fire with Grizwald Grim. Stay on topic. Yeah. Hi, everybody, especially in the comment section, because I'm flying solo tonight out of the frying pan into the fire. And your being here is going to help me a lot, because 30 minutes is a lot of space to fill. I've been fearing this for pretty intensely the last 6 hours or so, and so I thought that tonight's episode should involve fear at some point. I'd like to also talk about comfort zones, growth, and creation. Um, but let's start with fear. I wanted to start with the litany against fear, but then I got scared that there'd be copyright issues from using it without permission, so I decided not to, and instead I'll just talk about it. But I want to say that I think it's bogus that something with that level of mimetic penetration, the that we can reference that pop culture and in our daily lives, that we can't use it through media to do the same thing, because if it's at that level in our heads that we can use it that way, I don't know, it just seems like that'd be fair use. But since I don't have a IP lawyer on call, I'm playing it on the safe side. Um, there's gonna be a lot of that, and I think that's because that's just part of the way fear affects our thought process while we're in it. So, at Twitch there, that's fear too. I like to think of fear as something that creates static, that whatever message it is I'm trying to communicate to you, if I let the fear creep into my body, that static will come out and manifest and interfere with what I'm trying to get across. I also like to think that fear mainly exists in the future. Like, now that I'm sitting here in it, I certainly can't say that, it's all in the future, but it's so much worse in the future. The closer you get to it, the smaller and smaller it becomes. I can't be scared of doing this show anymore because I am doing it now, and that's how it should be. And I think we'd be better off if we don't let fear trigger avoid responses in us long before it's within our realm of control, which is always now. I have the notion of now as a sanctuary from both the fears of our future and the pains of our past that still mark our identity. I also was thinking today that fear creates the bubble around us that we call our comfort zone. And when we can't project far enough into the future to see beyond uncertainty, that's where the fear bubble starts. And there it goes. Woo! I also think that fear is energy that we can use to positively influence our behavior. That we can take the fear that we're trying to avoid and the energy and the nervousness that mounts in us, we can direct it towards more fruitful behaviors. This is the first episode that I've had talking points listed below me so that I could reference them and come back to them. The fear is causing me at least, to try and up my game to deal with it when it gets here, the now. And let me bring in some comments now, because that's what I like to do on my show. Thank you, Mark, for this. Doing a great job. Zara Altair, new physics, fear equals interference. The smaller and smaller it becomes. So just like a wave particle, you can't measure it. And from Cheryl Deuce, we fear the unknown, and that is the future. I like to, when I was thinking about it before, I thought the bear example, because that triggers us on a really deep fundamental level. Oh my God, a bear, and the fight-flight response, that sort of thing. And my main thought is, even if we're sitting there staring down a bear, we're still kind of scared of the future, of the next 30 seconds when the bear starts eating us. Um, so here I am wrestling with a bear, and it feels pretty good. I'm not being eaten, at least. No point in running. Oh, let's bring this in. Zara Altair with the fear bubble then coming out. I call it smashing the grapefruit. Sounds messy. Zara sounds very, very messy. I also, with the whole aspect of fear as the bubble that encompasses our comfort zone, I like to think about when we go through it, we're becoming uncomfortable, but uncomfortable is where growth happens. Growth happens outside of our comfort zone. This can be related to working out and muscles. We work them until they're uncomfortable, and sometimes we work them too hard until it's painful. But I think it's the same way with any type of growth to do. And as I'm growing into this new identity as a host of an HOA, I have to be uncomfortable if I want to grow. And if I keep the further I push out, I expand my comfort zone by pushing the boundaries of fear. I'll be less afraid of this next time. So, oh look, shiny. This is the biggest fear I've had with regards to having an HOA, is trying to fill time all by myself. But as Mark says, the Grizwald gang is here with me, so I'm not all by myself. But alone on this side of the camera is pretty intense. Let's see, I also wanted to talk fear, comfort zone growth. Hey, I'm staying on topic a little bit. Now if I can talk about creation, I'll have made it through and look at the clock and freak out because I'll have so much time left. Manny, how am I doing? I'm holding up a heck of a lot better than I expected. Like, the fear that was with me all afternoon is... Oh, there it is. Uncomfortable silence. No, but the fear that was with me all afternoon is dissipating rapidly. It's the maximum of 30 minutes. I'm already part way through it, and at the worst case scenario, it's going to last for another 20 or so, right? Here's from Kristen Drysdale, Smash and Trash, the Messy Citrus Cycle. Have I talked enough about comfort zones? Yeah, I'm good with that. Moving on to growth. We all like to grow as people, I think. Or we can stay in our comfort zones. That's cool too. It's a personal choice, and I wouldn't push anybody into anything they didn't want to do. But let's go on to creation, because fear, one of the biggest fears, and Manny's Death Rider's block taught me this, is that the blank page. Creation is a place of fear because it's full of uncertainty. When we start to experience what it is we're creating, that uncertainty has to fade because we're experiencing it. We're building the models of what actually happened. And those are so much more narrow than the models of fear that we can build, because with the openness of creation, we have infinite possibility. So I had infinite possibility to make a fool of myself on this HOA, and now I have finite possibilities of making a fool out of myself on this HOA. Yes, I have a small handful of notes, Mark. Yes, I'm doing fine, asking if I have notes or some reference points. I didn't do any research or find the links I was thinking about finding for this show. More panicking and thinking of what I'd say to fill the air, but yeah, I can't try and think of any reference points at this point. I'm sorry. I did write down earlier that fear is what gets in the way of flow. The static that I was talking about earlier, the message flowing. If you can move past the fear, through the fear, and into flow, then the time will fly by and fill itself. It's not doing that for me anymore. So I am going to go ahead and drop the event link into the chat. So anybody who wants to come in and bail me out can. We'll be starting the after party early this week. Please come on in and keep me company. But go into the story and out of fear. Yes, let's bring up some narratives. Thanks there, Altair. We're all writing our own narratives, and whether or not we choose to write a story about someone who never tried, or someone who tried and failed, or someone who pushed through and succeeded and continued to grow is the story we're moving into. On a fundamental level, we're ultimately the author of our own lives. I wanted to say that I think emotions shape our identity, our response to them at least. Whether that's fear or love or what we decide to let influence our emotions, we can bring about those emotions to guide us as we shape our future selves. And we're really creating reality every single day. Every little now, we're building the future that we are. Mark came in to bail me out. Mark, thank you. Hi, how you doing? Do you want to talk about some fear so I can rest from mine?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, one of the biggest fears that I have faced recently is staying in the comfort zone of other people. I mean, it's bad enough that we try to stay on our own, but a lot of times we, get comfortable within a social group, and we're afraid to move out of that. And sometimes we need to do that, and just, in order to grow.
Do you think that taking the self-evaluation or the circumstantial or contextual evaluation and say, is this a place where I can grow? Are these people willing to grow with me? Are they helping me grow? Is that an evaluation that we should do often?
Absolutely. All the time. All the time. And then you just get your growth on and, do your thing and be happy. You have to be happy. I mean, we talk about things aligning with our core values all the time. And if something doesn't align with your core values, get out. You're not going to be happy. So get to a happy place. That's
I like peace too, a peaceful place. I think we can evoke emotions to direct the way we're growing in the now. And for me, like, if I can pull myself out of my behavior far enough to say, okay, and just take a little bit of peace, and whatever imagery you have to pull up to find it, that your peace will spread to those you're facing your fears alongside. And hello, Zara. Thank you for coming in. You look like you're getting ready still, so I'll bug you more later.
We love Zara.
Creation. You want to talk some creation, Mark? Let's spin it back that way. I want to touch the points as often as possible.
No, I'm creating all the time, so I don't. And I'm just getting to the point now where it's like I'm going to create stuff and I'm going to give it away because I can't. I get so many ideas going and so many projects going that, I mean, no one could possibly handle all that. So there are people out there, Cheryl Deuce, and and her husband Dennis, and these people that, Mark Faraski, and people that I would love to work with and say, yo, here are some ideas. Would you like to go with this? Can we collaborate on this? What, and just, give these ideas away because, I'm not the type of person that stays very focused, and that's cool. You have to learn, where you are, and work with your inabilities, shall we say, and go with that and be in that happy, peaceful place.
Completely agree.
Why am I not in this?
You are, dear.
You're in it as far as I'm concerned, Zara.
I'm going to go out. I can't go out. I can't find the screen where I am. So
Oh, she's lost, ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
lost, totally lost.
Nothing to be
My
afraid of. It's a
my
safe
kitty
place to get lost.
my kitty's been bumping my hand. I couldn't type.
We all can have those
It's been
nights.
crazy. You know what, Mark? I really liked what you said about fear, the otherness part of fear. I think
Letting
that's
other people define our comfort zones.
yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what Cheryl was talking about in this comment, I believe. Thank you, Cheryl Deuce. Do you think sometimes the fear is admitting you were wrong or in the wrong crowd or denying your core value by staying with your crowd? I would try and pin that under identity threat, which I've heard plenty about from my good friend Manny. I think
I'm gonna try this again.
that sort of dissonance would be a drain on you and make you uncomfortable. The fear of being wrong, I think, is drilled into at least my generation through the schooling process. We take being wrong as bad, something to be ashamed of, something that triggers those sorts of behaviors. So there's definitely a fear of being wrong, and staying where we're right is comfortable. I still want to spin back toward creation a little bit, because for me, this show has been a creation. And I wanted to tell us the story that earlier in the conversation community, I did some hangouts that were event hangouts, but they weren't recorded. And I had done it for a couple of weeks, and me and my good friend Doug Breitbart got to talking about it. And he said that whatever you pour that kind of energy into is sort of like your child. And everyone sees how you treat that, and how much energy you're willing to put into it, into the care and nurturing to cause it to grow. And I feel that as I continually pour energy into this After Dark project, I'm continually rewarded by the nurturing I do of that project through people like you two coming in to support me, and everyone who watches at all, Replay City or live. I don't know, there's more creation.
They're our babies. Our projects are our babies, and they are very important to us. And sometimes being a parent, you get hurt. You make mistakes, and you go on. I just personally want to say that I think you're doing a great job with this show. And I take a nap on Fridays so that I could be up to watch it. And just nurture it and keep going with it, man.
The support I've received from this community is really what's been able to keep me going. And I got some unexpected support on Thursday. People told me that they were watching that I didn't realize were watching, and that definitely is encouraging.
Sure, and that's just like a child. When people see, when they make remarks about your children, and in a positive way and everything. I mean, that's what it's about. And as far as the support, hashtag Grizwald Gang. Okay.
Speaking of hashtags, Kristen made a comment I'd like to bring in. It says, "Feel the fear. It's hard as hell, but it's the only way we're going to actualize." And I wanted to bring that in because it reminded me that I like to try and relate the chakra system and with crossbred with Maslow's hierarchy in looking at people and entities, and the show would qualify as an entity from that standpoint. And I do the chakra system and map it to the basic needs of Maslow, like red is survival, orange is power, internal power, yellow is relationships with others, green is love, and it works out toward the goal of actualization or individuation. And I think that over time, as I talk this stuff through, that the people that come with me on this journey will develop a shorthand lexicon of these sorts of things and grow as a community to where the thoughts can transmit pure with less static and less misunderstanding. And I'm really excited to see where it's possible to take that as a creation, see where that can grow.
That's the only way it can grow. Um, you know my little problem with the word authenticity, and I'll be discussing it on a show this week. But anyway, again, um, honesty, authenticity, you putting yourself out there and discussing your thoughts. I don't see very many HOA hosts doing that. It's always about other things, and I think that you do already have a loyal following. Fear, I think it's always scary. You know, it's always scary, but um, you're doing it. Um,
Indeed.
I think it's also the vulnerability that you show and your ability to, even in fear, go ahead and do the HOA and talk about identity. I mean, these are things, the topics that you've had on every After Dark have been things that every single person, we're all human beings, every single person resonates with your topics. And it's we all have those emotions and those fears and wondering who we are and all that sort of thing. And that's why I think, the people that come here to the show are so loyal and enthusiastic about it. You know?
and those people who might not like the show or like the topics are full of fear. That's this. They a lot of
Or
people.
very, very comfortable.
Yeah, which is going to be the downfall of those individuals if they don't get their house in order, shall we say?
I, I think it's very important that we always be mindful of stagnation because everything we're doing, I've spun this before and I'm sure I'll spin it again, and hopefully over time the message and signal will be clearer and cleaner to everyone, but we're always practicing something. And sometimes that's practicing being afraid. Sometimes that's practicing hosting an HOA. But everything we do is a type of practice, and we're always getting better at whatever it is we choose to practice. Um, I'd like to bring this up from Mark Farosky, if I said that right. After Dark, what is the main theme, or is there one? I love the name. Grizwald Gang, good stuff. The main theme. I want to have good conversation. When I wanted to give birth to a show, it was always about, I come onto G Plus and I have all these great conversations with people in threads, and I want to bring that into video in any way, shape, or form I can because the connections through video can reach more people faster. You can communicate more through talking, whether or not you're scared, than you can in text, and so it's just faster transfer of ideas and with broader spread. And so that's the main theme. Is my goal for the show is to have interesting people come on and have interesting conversations about interesting things, at least those that are resonant with me and those and along those lines who aren't too comfortable, who are still trying to figure life out. And that would be, I guess, the main theme of the series.
And I'd like to add that I see the people that are here and a gang that I just have grown to like really love. We're all familiar with aligning with our core values, and I think that if there's a theme, it would it may be that just being you and being happy being you. Um, it's just
And where you can grow from that, or
yeah.
at least a living example of where somebody grows from that. Or so you can have a little voyeurism and watch and see if I fall on my face, or whether or not that one of my favorite pithy quotes on a pretty picture is fear related, because it's the what if I fall, and then with the response, oh my darling, what if you fly? I've seen that scroll through both my Facebook and my G Plus streams, and that always just kind of grabs me. Let me do a shout out, because I'm not that familiar with Kathy Oliver, so I'm always glad to have new people around. Yes, there can be positive butterflies. It goes to the learning how to channel the fear into something productive. I think is you can turn your butterflies positive, let them fly upwards.
Hi, Kathy. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Kathy.
Yeah. And look,
Yeah.
Christine DeGraff came by.
All right.
And what?
Christine.
The YouTube mobile link. Anybody?
Yeah.
If one of my lovely audience would grab that and drop that in the comments for me, I'm
But
not
I
that
want to know.
multi-talented.
I want to know who the lovely audience member is that does that. I have an idea.
Volunteers. We're accepting volunteers, and we will be having an after party. So once I go off there, if any of you want to come in, you can click the link I dropped earlier. And I like to continue the conversations afterward, because not everybody is ready, like my two lovely guests here, to face the fears and be on record for YouTube and all the world to see. So that's why I open up after parties.
And they're always great, so get your butt in there.
Yeah, they are.
Good times.
So, creation.
More creation.
More creation.
Co-creation, then.
Co-creation.
Should we not stretch it that way? Because
Oh, hell yes.
if my audience and you two weren't here, I would be creating this all on my own, and we saw where that was going. So
It was going well.
I ran out of steam. So thank you so much. Yeah, I think that one of the main things I like about G Plus also is that you find people who are willing to co-create with you, and sometimes there has to be a financial transaction involved with that co-creation, because everybody's got to eat. But I've been extremely lucky to find people willing to co-create with me for just what I add to their co-creation process through our conversations, and that's beautiful to me.
It's this odd thing called giving. It's very simple and basic, and I think a lot more people need to practice the art of giving.
I think it's related to the connection from the safety of our own homes through the computer screen that we have, that like either through news stories and the 100 Island Network. I just slayed that, I'm sorry. But we can't even trick or treat anymore in a lot of places.
In most places, I know it's sad.
And with those connections deteriorating, that we found another way through the internet to reconnect with people is a great start in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Well, thank you, Cheryl Diz. I got to bring it in now because I see it and I respond. And alone or with friends, you're great.
Yeah,
Thank you, Cheryl.
right. Yes,
you know what?
Cheryl.
I've said it before. I'm not a huggy person. I would hug the hell out of her. Cheryl is just.
I know, she is. She's wonderful.
I love having her in my corner, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The YouTube link was provided. Thank you, Mark, for asking.
There you go, Mark.
Something I should keep in mind for next episode, I'm sure. Oh. 2 more minutes. So, since you came on, you get to plug something. I like it. I like to offer that. Anything you got to plug, Mark?
No, not really. Just follow HOAshows.com. There's some very capable people running it now. It's still up, still there. I backed out, but definitely support them. Yvonne Hyman is one of them, and I don't know if I'm allowed to get into other names, but they're great people. The site will still be great, and just hook up with HOAshows.com.
I suspect they will take fabulous care of your baby, Mark.
Absolutely.
And Zara, anything you'd like to plug before we sign off?
No, I just want to say that because we didn't get to creation except co-creation, but I've been working more on writing. I finished a short story, and I a lot of the inspiration and some of the prodding has come from friends that I've made on Google Plus, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm just really grateful. I have my writing group, but there's an emotional level, that you get from the people who are really your friends on Google Plus.
Yes, yes, the people, yeah, the connections we can make are very real,
They are.
and it's good. We're all learning to benefit from those. And I'd like to thank, in closing, because by God, we've made it. I'd like to thank in closing everyone who showed up, everyone who commented, and especially Mark Seydel and Zara Altair for joining me on the air. Thank you, everyone, for making my experience into the fire not painful. I'll be stopping the broadcast now. Please come by the after party. Join us. Thank you.
Phoenix.